What's up, YouTube? It's your girl, allegedly A-lease, and I'm here to give you my thoughts and my opinions on Married at First Sight. Let's talk about it. Special shout out this week goes to Beatrice and Sylvia. Thank you both so much for your comments, sharing your perspective. Thank you so much for taking a moment to support the channel. To all of my other subscribers, thank you so much for your support as well. If you are new to the channel, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Now let's get into it. Before we discuss Decision Day, I actually want to do a quick rematch of the castmates. And this was at the request of one of my subscribers, Tomalin. And so Tomalin, I'm actually going to take your suggestions and tell you why I actually agree with those. So the first couple is Chris and Brianna. And Tomalin says it's because Chris is a challenge and Brianna is confident and direct. And the reason I agree with this is because I feel like Bri is not going to sit there and just take what Chris is giving. She's going to hold Chris accountable. So that would have actually been an interesting couple to see. The next one is Eric and Clara. And the reason I agree with this and what Tomalin said is because Eric is a pilot and Clara is a flight attendant. And I actually quite agree with that. But the reason being, one, they understand each other and what they're going through. When you're away from your spouse, you want to know that everything is being held down. You want to know that this person has still got your back. And the same goes for the other spouse. You want to know that while they're out traveling, you know, they're still maintaining a sense of loyalty to your marriage. And so I think that they would understand each other. And plus, let's think about it. Clara has really kind of just given in to whatever Ryan wants. And so that's really what Eric wants. He wants someone to really just give in to what he wants. And that's Clara. The next couple is Jacob and Virginia. And Tomalin says it's because Jacob is fairly easygoing and Virginia wants to party. So I actually agree with this one, and it's only because Jacob is so patient. Jacob does have a trust issue, so Virginia will have to spend a lot of time making sure he knows, hey, these are my friends, nothing else is going on. But I think once Jacob has that sense of comfort and trust and loyalty from Virginia, then he'll be easygoing about the whole situation. Ryan and Haley, Tomalin put them together, and it's because Ryan abstains and Haley sort of abstains. Tomalin, you was just being petty. And I'm here for it because that's me. I really do think that they're very surface. Both of them think that they're really deep and they're not. And so they're very surface. They put on for a show. So that's why I actually agree with you, because they're all about the show. They want people to see them in a certain way at all times, and they try to control that. So they're fake deep, and they can be fake deep together. And the last is Vincent and Paige. And Tomalin says it's because Vincent is super sensitive and Paige is super patient and extra kind. So here's what I think about this one. I definitely agree because Vincent has continuously called my girl the B word, bossy. And that bothers me to my core. And I really think that had they been paired together, then he would never know even the term bossy, because Paige is just going to go with the flow, literally. And she'll always make sure he looks like the hero, because that's his thing, is when he feels like he's embarrassed, he really needs someone to really kind of soup back up his little ego. And I think that Paige will be there to do that for him because she's so patient. We saw how patient. We're going to continue to see how patient Paige is. Thank you so much, Tomalin, for your rematch suggestions and great picks. Now let's get into it. We open up on Decision Day, and the couples have each been separated to give themselves some time to think about their decision of will you stay married or will you get a divorce? We start with Ryan and Clara, and Ryan says that this process has taught him a lot about himself. And Clara says, yeah, there's been a lot of give and a lot of give. But for the most part, we're a good fit. Okay, girl. The experts ask, well, what about the physical needs that you have, Clara, as well as the need to hear, I love you? And Clara's like, yeah, well, he moves slow, but you know, I'm just gonna go with it. 10 years from now, Clara's, I'm still waiting. Well, I think he said next year. Like, whatever, Clara. If you want to keep making these excuses because you see something else better in Ryan outside of those two things that you really say that you need, then stop bringing it up to everyone. Stop making it such an issue. Stop calling a meeting of the minds late at night to complain about the fact that your needs are not being addressed. That's all we're saying, Clara. But Ryan pulls that I was like this when you met me card. Facts. So now it's decision time. And Clara says, Ryan, you're my bestie. You're the best husband I've ever had. He's the only husband you've ever had, fool. I would like to stay married. Go figure. Ryan says nobody has been able to crack the code to this dome. Clara hasn't either. And now I'm looking for more words to say because the producers are telling me to stretch it out as far as I can. So I'm gonna say what works for Ryan and doesn't necessarily work for Clara and blah, blah, blah. And in the end, he says, I for sure want to stay married to Clara. Shocker. Pastor Cal says, well, great. Go and do what married couples do. That's at least 10 years from now, Pastor Cal. Slow down. You're moving too fast for Ryan. Clara's debts will be forgiven before they go and do what married people do. Next up is Haley and Jacob. Now, Haley says that she's learned a lot about how to process her emotions and communicate effectively. Maybe editing left that out, sis. She also says that Jacob came off as not making any kind of effort. Girl, I would be so glad when you are no longer on my TV screen. Ironically, as they kept talking, she says that she got tired of answering questions about, are you attracted to me, or what's missing? Sounds like a case of the trying-itis, Karen. Let's be real, Haley. You just keep moving your target so that Jacob can never make his shot. Dr. Pepper says that you all are so disconnected, yet when I gave you the assignment of saying nice things to each other, you all did a great job. Something's up here. Something's not right. I tell you what's up. Haley's nose. It's stuck up. Pastor Cal asked Jacob, what if Haley said right now that she was not ready to get a divorce? What would you say, Jacob? And Jacob says, listen, it's been 8 weeks. It was a good run, but we didn't try in those 8 weeks. Nothing's going to change beyond those 8 weeks. So it's a no for me, dog. And Haley says if she was to stay, it would be her settling just to be married. In the end, they both agreed to get a divorce. And with that, Jacob is off to check his DMs of all the females who have given him praise and adoration throughout the season. Good luck, Jacob. Just make sure you pace yourself, sir. Take your time. Next up is Chris and Paige. Paige says, well, you know, I know that God put us in this marriage together for a reason. But, you know, I always knew something was off about the connection. Yet you stayed until he decided that it was over. Dr. Viv asked a solid question. She said, well, why did you keep going back, Paige? And she says, because I was hopeful. Of what? Being the lead sister wife? Now, Dr. Pepper asked Chris, how could you have been kinder to your wife, Paige? And Chris says, well, one, I could have moved into the apartment. True, that's what most married people do, live together. And then Reverend Chris throws his best hook and worm out into the water. He says, Paige, you were the best thing I never cherished. Who wrote that for you? You or production? Now, as he's laying his game on thick for Paige, the experts are sitting back like, oh my God, can you believe this fool? Virginia, bring me a drink. I can't tonight. Chris is getting extra saucy at this point. Paige, you're what I needed in a wife, and I didn't appreciate that. Paige says, oh my God, I've been waiting to hear you say that. Experts, help, please, now. Quick side note. Y'all, as I was taking notes for this, my mama called me because she watches the show, as I told you all before. And she said, What in the Tyler Perry is going on? She said, I really feel like this man is at the Tyler Perry Academy for Learning, and this man is really giving us his finest work. And I'm sorry, at this point, I completely agree with my mom. It's either production has gone to the Tyler Perry Academy or Chris has. But at this point, this is all fake. It's so, well, that's Chris. Never mind. I digress. Let me keep moving. Chris goes on to announce that Mercedes lost her baby. And then he gets up and he storms out. And Paige is back on her old job, chasing Chris. Now, I think that it's interesting that Paige has such a slow walk that it allowed Chris time to get past production, who normally stops them and tries to keep them filming. He makes it past production and all the way to his car. Paige is doing that slow move. And we all have seen Paige run him down before. So Paige, we know that you can move faster in heels. Production, you need to take a shower before next season because your antics, they stink. Paige finally catches up to Chris and gets in the car where Chris gives us his finest Oscar tears. Meanwhile, Paige is staring straight into the camera, literally, as if she's waiting on someone to feed her her lines. Chris says, after Vegas, I felt so alone. You were alone. Remember, supposedly, you went to Chicago. You chose to be alone. Now, as Chris wipes his dry face, he says, I was so embarrassed. But what I needed you most, Paige. I needed you most, Paige. That good production? I needed you most. Now, what you needed was for some camera time, clearly. Immediately, as they get out of the car, all fake tears are dry, and they rejoin the experts. The experts ask Paige her thoughts about what Chris has stated, and she says that she's overwhelmed, but in all honesty, in her mind, this is the reason that her marriage never really got a chance to work. And now all of that is out of the way. Pastor Cal goes remix on the track. I wanna. When he can finally get it out, he says, I want to be sensitive to Mercedes if she really lost her baby. So don't think that I'm not being sensitive to that. But Chris, let's be real. You had some issues before you knew about any baby. Chris says in front of Paige, yes, the attraction. But we're headed down the right path. And Dr. Viv says exactly what we're all thinking. What in the Twilight Zone is going on here? Pastor Cal says, so you really about to stay married to this Van, Paige? And Chris pulls a Chris. I know this has never been done before, but we're undecided. And Paige is actually sitting there nodding her head in agreement. You just wait until you watch this season back and everything that he had to say about you, Paige. And then you let me know if you're still going to be nodding your head. Y'all, Dr. Viv gave me life. She was like, boy, you better stop playing with her because now you playing with me and my crew. And that's not what we about to do, Chris. That's not what we about to do. Chris pops back with, I don't give a flying Eric how you feel. I said what I said. Paige then tries to step in and defend the decision, saying, well, if I had more time. Girl, Chris dismissed you. Who you mad at, sis? Who? This woman is literally trying to save you from yourself. Now Paige gets up and storms out, and Chris runs behind her for once in life. And he's like, you want to go? You want to go? You want to go to my place? Chris, I wouldn't go to the stop sign with you. Paige speaks separately with production and says, I actually feel like a fool for saying that I was undecided. This indication showed me that Paige literally will do whatever Chris tells her to do, no matter what. While they're waiting on Paige, Dr. Viv says to Dr. Pepper, her eyes were literally looking at me, screaming for help. Yeah, I'm so glad someone's finally helping the girl. And Pastor Cal pulls Chris to the side and says, be responsible. They all regroup. And Paige finally puts Paige first and says that she wants a divorce. Next is Eric and Virginia. And Dr. Pepper asks Eric when he sits down, why are you coming off so nervous? And of course, Eric is feeling away because he can't have any control over whatever it is that Virginia is going to say today regarding her decision. He also states that it's because he's not her number one. All of this stuff is bothering him and it's bottling up today. She basically says she has a hard time with it and she knows that he wants to be number one. She's working on it. Eric gets on one knee and proposes that they stay married. And Virginia accepts and agrees, and they stay married for now. We finally get to our last couple, Vince and Bree. They both say it hasn't been easy, but this has been a good process. Bree goes on to say all of these wonderful, sweet things about her husband, Vince. And Vince says that she's bossy and rude. All right, high horse moment. Is it me, or wasn't the entire season all about Bree walking around wiping his crybaby eyes? Let's go back and let's remember this. The spilled champagne. Then we had the salsa dancing classes. Then we also had the horseback riding. You're the one that's a diva. You're the one that's bossy, controlling, and has a bad attitude. Maybe you're projecting onto your wife how you really feel about yourself. Maybe that's what it is, Vince. Anyhow, in the end, Bree says, deal with it. And that's just exactly what the Godfather will do. Because they both agree to stay married. And he even gets down and proposes with a cheesecake. How cheesy, Vince. How cheesy. Later, the castmates all get together one last time to share their big decisions. After the couples who decided to stay together get done bragging, Haley says, I learned so much about myself. Jacob says, I didn't learn a thing. All I learned was, this ain't working for me. And of course, Haley could not wait to dig in her one-on-one interview. Paige talks about how she considered staying married as everyone clutches their invisible pearls. And just like any other Tyler Perry feature, Chris walks in right when they're sitting there talking about him. He apologizes to his castmates and he shares his wishes. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl that looked good, I would call her. I wish I had a rabbit in a hat with a bat, a 6'4" Impala. Eric forgives Chris and wishes him all the best. And as the couples call it a night and make their final exit, we see that Paige is clearly still not over Chris because she's yet again chasing behind him. Talking about, you so sweet. Do better, Paige. Do better. That's all we can keep saying. You gotta want better, Paige. Do better. So, I just have one question for you this week. Do you think that Paige is really done with Chris? Let's chat about it down in the comments. Until the next time, I'm allegedly A-lease. Peace.